And I learned so much. I learned so much doing this project.
The joy of making it. You know, I know exactly what it is. I know exactly where it fits in terms of like the whole artistic spectrum, and I love it for where it is.
Yes, up there in the back.
Are you happy to be in Woodstock?
Yes, I'm happy to be in Woodstock.
Well, everyone, I just want to remind you that you can and should vote for adult children.
The joy of making it. You know, I know exactly what it is. I know exactly where it fits in terms of like the whole artistic spectrum, and I love it for where it is. And I love so much just being part of something that is about how we talk to each other and how we relate to each other, how we love each other, and how we just make the road a little bit easier for each other, because it is so necessary right now.
Absolutely.
And it's just fun to be part of something that's fun.
That question has different answers depending on the decade that I was answering it. But I think essentially I'm curious and fascinated by human beings and all their adventures, and I like telling stories. And good stories are something that I think are necessary and vital to human expression, and I'd love to be part of that.
And it's not a filmography in the strictest sense. It's not a list film, and in that sense, it's so it kind of gives it leeway. People started to be necessary.
Yeah, the list evolved. Rebecca and David would be like, "I think we need Sandy Weintraub," and I'm like, "Who's Sandy Weintraub?" You know, and then I was like, "His girlfriend from 19." You know,
Yeah.
Alice doesn't live there. So you just sort of go, "Okay, it's like scavenger hunt."
I've got you. There's no pressure there at all. Editing one of the greatest editors ever. I do not.
Yeah, no, it was a real treat, actually. I mean, it was inspiring to look at his work and look at his collaboration with the editor and be able to work with a great filmmaker and friend on such a special project. And definitely, like, the freedom was offered in the edit, the same way you hear on screen Marty off with Thelma. I mean, we're not quite there in terms of episodes yet, but yeah, so it was special, actually, cutting something about a filmmaker who had a great relationship with the editor.
It's interesting. The later episodes of the series deal with Mr. Scorsese's move from sort of a maverick to joining the studio system and depicting that journey. Sort of thinking of the modern state of Hollywood now, is it possible for a director like him, do you think, to find the kind of films he wanted to make in the studio system now, looking at his career?
I mean, you guys should talk to this, but I personally believe that anybody with a real vision probably has to start as an independent filmmaker. That's my personal belief, that eventually maybe you'll get enough power through, you know, just the power of your voice and maybe gathering an audience that you can then work with studios. But I think probably you have to start independently.
I mean, I think one of the implicit things in the film is the way Scorsese navigated all the different eras of Hollywood, and I think through that it shows how a young filmmaker could try to navigate them today. And all the failures he had, as you see in episode 1 early in his career, a lot of people would have thrown in the towel. And to show the perseverance required, and I love that part about it and how hard you have to want it. You might have to want it a little harder now, it's a little more competitive, it's a little trickier, but it's the same kind of grind, and he felt it deep down, and I hope that's an inspiring message to anybody who wants to make films.
Well, I figured if I didn't get in this one on film.
Good to see you. My wife Katie. I don't know if you guys ever met.
Like, I just need to make a movie like the way we used to make movies, like The Puppy Chair, that didn't feel like I was trying to please a distributor or, you know, I don't know, the business is collapsing, so what a fun time to just be like, oh, let's just make a movie. And so we started spitballing.
We wanted to look at something in ourselves that we felt like might be authentic and interesting to people, that wouldn't be too difficult for us to look at, but could be
Yeah.
fun to look at.
And also
in
like
art.
not cloying for you guys, for us to be
Yeah.
like, aren't we adorable? Look at us after Puppy Chair. We made it.
Guys, this is Una. Say hi to Una. If anyone saw the first season of the morning show, she played Jen Aniston's character's daughter in the first season of the morning show. And we became really good
That's how we
friends.
met. I feel like we were both like weird.
Yeah.
We were out there in Hollywood and we were like, oh, you're weird too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, congratulations. Beautiful. So moving. Can you talk a little bit about directing and acting at the same time, especially in such an emotionally charged piece, and also obviously having written it and like having all those cylinders firing at the same time?
Yeah. It requires a lot of prep. More prep than I would do on a movie that I was just directing, because it requires like everyone on your team to creatively know instinctually like what I want out of that scene, what I want it to look like, feel like. You know, sometimes when you're in a scene when it's really, really working. So it really just like my DP was a huge part of that then, of like, do you feel like you got it? Because I don't want to look at monitors. I tried to not look at monitors as much as possible because I'm also an actress and I'm very vain. And if I look at a monitor, I'm like, why would I make that face? So I try not to do that, but I do try and make sure that like I look at every frame before when it's up, make sure it's like what we all agreed on. And then sometimes like there's also like loose room to play and improvise and find something new on the day, and we did that a lot too. But it really is just like having a very tight communication.
And then we'll take another one. And you also had a question, right?
We might take a couple more. I'll answer quick.
Okay, go.
First, I just want to say thank you. The film is amazing. I find something new every time I watch it. So my question is, when you direct SV, you talk about, you don't have a lot of time, in and out, you direct for 2 weeks and you're done. How was it having more time to kind of sit with this and plan it out and do everything?
Thank you. Such a good question. I was shooting SVU when I did this film. I shot it on weekends, I shot it at night, I shot it during hiatus. And in documentary, it's like, you get in there and you go. And it's it has nothing to do with narrative storytelling, nothing. And I learned so much. Doing this project, and I surrounded myself with really amazing filmmakers. Amazing producer, Tricia Lessig, amazing DP, Tony Hardman, and a brilliant editor at the end who had one of the hardest jobs ever. But you get there and you figure it out. I think that is what I learned on SVU, is that I gotta figure it out, and I gotta figure it out fast. I have a week of prep, but I'm also used to shooting. So my prep is always, I'm ripped off, because I don't even get prep, and they know it, because then I'm like, we lost an actor, you have to shoot, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I remember I did one day, I shot one episode, and I had 2 days of prep. And I was like, I gotta pull out, I can't do this. And they're like, you'll be fine. So a part of it has to do with trusting your gut, trusting that you know more than you think you know. And I knew what I was doing when I made this movie. I knew what my intention was and my goal was. And so much of it was intuition, right?
This goes right, I'll get to direct a 30 for 30. And it was what I really dreamed of doing. And so I'm so happy to be up here with especially with this panel.
You got to make your 30 for 30 and a 30 for 30 short as well.
Yeah, I did. I ended up getting to make a 30 for 30 and a 30 for 30 short, and then another ESPN Films film I just finished very recently, and then another one that's premiering in the new year, or next month. So I've been very fortunate to work with this great team, and I'm going to pretend like they're not here and just say it's been really wonderful working with ESPN on these projects, and I've said it to them kind of individually, but I think what's been so great about this evolution of the sports documentary, how wonderful it's been at ESPN, but I think the pedigree of the people who are making the films there, you go there and you make a film and they're not like, well, it has to have 8 baskets have to be made in order for it to be a sport. Like they really understand their audience, they really understand story, and they understand documentary as a whole.